Hello, everybody. Oh, how are you this week? So this is Juliet here, and we have Marion, and we are your hosts for the week. I mean, yes, we're the hosts for the day, and we're trying our best to look really, really calm, really cool, as if this is all organised. But I have to confess that I have just jumped out of an oxygen chamber. And about 10 miles ago, and driven like crazy to come up here on time for this live stream. So I've been doing some hyperbaric oxygen treatments for the last few weeks, and today was the day. And we're really committed to showing up here. Both Marion and I are really, really busy right now. It's like everything's ramping up, and we're getting very, very busy. And I don't know if we're actually on Facebook at this point in time.
I'm just checking, actually, Juliet. As can you see, I've got my scanning eyes on now.
You've got your scanning eyes, so we're doing our best to look cool, calm, and collected, and to so catch up. We had 1 minute before starting.
Here we are.
Yay! So we're hoping now that more people are catching on to the fact that we're doing this every Wednesday at 5 p.m. And I've got my spotty dress on. Look at that. Spotty Juliet. I never wear things like this, but a friend gave it to me, so I thought, well, it's not quite the spiritual look, but why not? Why not?
Why not?
It's great for gardening. It's so comfy, and oxygen chambers and things like that. So, yes. Today was the day.
Oh, hang on.
We're really committed. Not quite the spiritual look, but
hang on. Sorry, that's
feedback. We're getting feedback. So I will just go on sharing whilst you're sorting things out, Marion.
Yes.
Hopefully we've got 2 people who are going to come and speak today with us that's got some information to share about what's going on for them.
Yeah, cool.
And we're just getting a bit more skilled at this, I hope, because we are just people, just ordinary people, learning how to make our voices heard, find a way to talk about what's happening, navigate these times that they're really full-on, intense times. Very, very, very stressful on one level. And now there's this feeling of excitement in the air, at least for me, because
what's the feeling of excitement about?
Well, it's just so much going on. It's just really hard to keep up. It's like every day I'm like really structured from the time I wake up to late at night with lots and lots of things that I'm doing. And some of those things you know about. So there's my trauma training coming up soon. There's the gardens, the polytunnel being built. We're doing a big, big planting in the gardens. And so, I mean, my life is really busy anyway, but now it's like that energy of spring, the air is new moon. And if you believe in astrology, I'm sure Brigitte, who's coming on the call, will tell us a little bit about astrology. So we have got 2 guests, as I've mentioned, and I'm just wondering how we're going to structure this. We're going to invite the guest, Louise, on at about 5:10.
We've got some messages coming in as well at the moment. So
wow, really? Who from?
Sharon saying hello, great to see you. And we've got Avril who's saying hello. So hi, Sharon, and hi, Avril. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
So they're on Facebook. So I'm going to go to YouTube as well and see. So if you hear us speaking, it's because I'm searching for us, and sometimes I don't get to click the I don't get to click the pause button quick enough, and it starts to play things.
Oh, that's what's happening.
That's why you can hear this weird 5-second delay echo thing going on.
Yeah.
Things are playing. Okay, so we're live on Facebook too as well, yes?
Yay. And I didn't have chance today to tag anyone, although I did put up the little advert that you so cleverly made, said join us Wednesday. So I've posted that a couple of times. So if you are watching now, if you've just come on to this live stream, do start a watch party. I've got some really, really important information I want to share. Very, very, very serious and important information. So do invite your friends to join you. We'll give you a few minutes to do that whilst we're just kind of preparing. And yeah, so I'll do that a little bit later in the call to give you time.
Yep. Okay. So I'm finding us on, let me see. So I found us on YouTube, I found us on Facebook, and I'm just looking on Twitter. Twitter. Here we are. We're on Twitter as well. Excellent. So
Good.
I'm going to like it and I'm going to retweet it on Twitter.
Fantastic. Okay. So we've all got a voice, and we're needing to learn how to use our voice. And the theme that we've been exploring is about how our voices are shut down, about social engineering, what's come through the behavioural insights team that's advising our government how to keep us shut down, MK Ultra mind control programs that have grown out of the Operation Paperclip when the Nazis were, at the end of the Second World War, taken into the academic circles and research circles in America and Germany, not Germany, America and Russia, and how that then started the whole MK Ultra mind control programs, and how now this is the way that they control populations. So this stuff all feeds together. It's like we're having a tremendously difficult time at this moment, really getting information out to people. And there is this medical apartheid going on right now, of which one of our guests is going to speak about. But these things, this divide and rule, this polarization is growing out of this deliberate attempt to misinform people or keep people censored or uninformed. And I've got an example of this from a whistleblower from the top level of the National Health System that I want to share with you in a little bit. So let's see what's the time we've got. It's 7 minutes. How are you, Marion? How are you? I'm rabbiting on, but it's like I want to try and put some more serious content forward because we're a bit of a pair of nuts, I think. But
I take my nuttiness very seriously. Thank you very much.
It's a bit of a balance, isn't it, between bringing forward serious content and like we are really about serious stuff, but at the same time making it light and like we're normal. We want to encourage normal people just to speak up and speak out. So how are you doing? How's that going for you right now?
It's very interesting because there are so many things that are going really well. Like today I've been out and about in London. I went to visit a friend this morning, one of my teachers actually. We spend some time together we work together regularly on each other's progress and growth. And just being out was lovely today because other than being on the tube, which I was on for about half an hour each way, most faces are uncovered.
Yay! Oh, thank God for that.
So it's lovely to see so many faces. Now on the tube, there was only 2 other people that I saw without masks, which was really nice because we do the whole to each other across the tube station or across the train. And that is the first time on the tube itself I've seen somebody else without a mask. So far, I'd been the only one for quite a long time. So that's really good news. London generally is getting back to not like there's traffic jams today. There's not been traffic jams for ages.
Yeah, there is here in Glastonbury as well.
Yeah, so that's nice because that's normal. Even though traffic jams aren't really nice, at least
I hate them, and I'm glad to see that life is resuming normally again.
So it's nice because we can get to like traffic jams.
Yeah, I mean, that's the silver lining of this cloud, isn't it? How much fury I used to have every time I was held up in the traffic, but now it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
Thank God, yeah. So it's lovely that we can recognise what we were either taken for granted or what we were in resistance of, which was just an indication of like people being able to get on with their everyday lives. And traffic jam is one of those things. You know, we've got the ability to have transportation of our own, and we've been programmed to be so scared of using shared things that we all ended up with our own stuff. But actually, the way the world has developed, that's how it is. There's no point in being in resistance about that, because that's just how it is. So that's been really nice. So yeah, lots of faces. I could see faces on the street, lots of them, and people sitting in their cars in traffic jams without masks is another great thing to see.
It's good.
And then life in general is really, it's showing me so much of the division. It's like really starkly indicating the division. So my navigating through that division is a challenge, because I don't want the division, but I'm in resistance of the fact that it is there. And my resistance is a problem. The division isn't the problem. My resistance to the division is the problem, because the division is here and I don't know why. And on a spiritual plane, it could be, I assume it's the best thing because it's perfect just as it is.
Well, just like the traffic was a problem, but we
exactly. But so it's like he's highlighting all of the things that I don't like and I don't want. And that's just denial of what is. I had a really cool conversation with somebody yesterday about the word hope. And they were saying how they see hope as a really positive word. And I said, I don't like the word hope. I don't like it, because you're saying that what is right now is not enough.
Yeah, Sasha Stone doesn't like hope either.
It's a horrible word. It's total denial and resistance of this present moment. If you're hoping, you're not okay with what is right now.
Really interesting, because I always put, I hope you're well and then these days when I'm about to write, I hope you're well, it reminds me how everybody's saying stay safe, and I want to hit them. Because when they say stay safe, it means like, I hope you're not going to get this horrible virus. And it's like, I don't believe in the fucking virus. It's like, don't tell me to stay safe, because this is all nonsense. This is all mind control.
So, and exactly, the word hope to me is a mind control word. There's a few of them. Earn is a mind control word. Deserve. They're not real words. They don't mean anything. They mean lack. They mean suffering, they mean fear. They're just indicators of how out of touch we are with this present moment and the present reality when we use words like hope and deserve and earn. And there's quite a lot of words that I just and until recently, like, I didn't really know why I didn't like hope. I kind of did, but there weren't explicit examples all around me, whereas today there's explicit examples all around me that I can really tune into, that help me to really see what is going on for me, how it's bothering me, why it's a problem that I'm being bothered. It's not the thing that's bothering me that's the problem. It's the fact that I'm bothered by something that exists. I don't need to be bothered by anything. I can act on what is present.
Absolutely.
I can respond to this present moment. Absolutely. If I choose to respond with something negative, that's a choice. I'm just maybe not seeing the choice, but it is a choice.
Yeah. Well, we do ultimately all have choices.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're mind controlled, when we don't have informed consent, then we can't really make our choices. So somebody has just said, if anyone tells me to stay safe one more time, yes.
Good. Teapot Pixie. We know who that is.
So we've got so much to share, and we've got our guest waiting to come on. And what you're telling me about the language reminds me of somebody I've been listening to very recently, whose name I can't remember, so I can't even tell you about him. But it's all about the grammar. It's all about the mind control, and everything is all about the grammar, and all the legal documents and everything that's written have been written in the future tenses and so on. And it's structured. Language has been structured in a specific way to control us. And I do want to study him a bit more. It's very interesting because he talks about being in the now space, the importance of being in the now space. Yeah. And the language that he uses, he's changed. He studied grammar and syntax and that for such a long time. And it's like, it really stretches my brain to listen.
It's like with conditional language, the conditional tenses, the shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's like conditional means it's not here now. it's a if and a when, and it's all these things about adding extra bits to this moment, which means they're not actually here right now.
And they're all
The conditional tenses, and we spent ages learning about them in French. I remember conditional everything, because and it's exactly that. It's making spells, making language create a reality that's not even the reality that I'm in right now. It's
Absolutely.
this other way of wanting, or this other way of expressing, that doesn't actually relate to who's here right now, here, me, having this experience right now. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I like it when people say should. Stop shoulding all over me.
You should stop talking now, because I did promise this person that she could contribute.
Okay, so we have a guest joining right now.
We have a guest. We have a guest joining right now. So let me invite Louise on as this guest, and I'm probably going to cut her off as well, because we should have made more time, but we don't have enough time, but we'll invite her to speak. Hi, Louise. Hi.
Hello, Louise.
Can you hear me okay? I'm on my phone because I had so little time to prepare for this, so I hope it's okay.
Very good, very loud, very clear.
It's absolutely,
good. That's great.
Absolutely perfect. So you
Lovely.
were talking to me the other day about an experience of medical apartheid that you had and how stressed you are at the moment with this kind of division that's happening. Would you like to share with me?
Thank you. I've loved hearing what you've got to say, by the way. I could converse with both of you for ages about language, etc., common law, government, control mind, etc., understand, stand under. So anyway, but I won't go on about that. So yes, like you've said, it's been the division right from the very beginning that's really struck me about this whole situation. A year ago, I was in Ireland visiting my father, end of March. That was the last time I saw him, my 93-year-old dad. And that was the first case had been announced in Ireland. And I was so aware when I saw these red fear-mongering words going along the bottom of the TV. I don't have one, thank God. I think it's really saved my sanity, actually, by not having a television. But these scary words, deadly, those sort of words. And I can just see how it's caused immense fear in so many people who only expose themselves to mainstream media and haven't done much research. And I have done a lot. I had 2 weeks there. I had to quarantine in Canada to see my son and his my first grandchild recently in January.
You flew all the way to Canada in the middle of this.
Flew all the way to Canada, minus 18 degrees, deep snow, and had to navigate. I had to do PCR tests, which was not a pleasant experience. So yeah, I'll be on my own for 14 days before I was allowed to see my family, which just seems utterly crazy. I'm completely symptom free, etc. But
you were in Canada and you had to quarantine for 14 days. That is totally insane. And it must have been so stressing as well.
Well, I managed to keep myself going, and but all the research really kept me going. And it was during the time of what we hoped was going to be Trump coming in for the inauguration, taking over from Joe Biden. But I'm not going to go into politics. That was all very exciting. So I was kind of on tenterhooks during that time and doing all this research, but into the depth of what's been going on with the virus and the true nature of viruses. And I am a trained nurse, and the germ theory is in huge question. It's turned everything on its head for me, actually. Yeah. And I also work for the Royal College of Psychiatrists, and I do peer reviews for secure services. And another thing that's really got to me is this the idea of having informed choice around things like vaccines. So absolutely. Which is because I truly believe that none of us can have informed choice because we don't know enough about the long-term effects of these treatments. They're not true vaccines, we all know that, and that disturbs me hugely, particularly in psychiatric services where the patients are given a choice, but we have no trials on the contraindications with their medications, for example, and everybody's just rolling it out as if it's the normal thing, the right thing to do. And it's a way to keep safe, as you said, to be safer, to And I just feel there's a huge deception going on. And you know, my recent experience has been, I've heard from a friend in Ireland, first of all, who in the end, she didn't want to have a vaccine and did have, because she would not be allowed to visit her niece in a care home if she hadn't had it. And I have heard that in Ireland it is becoming very strict, and they're passing a law to even restrict people who are vaccinated and unvaccinated to be in the same household together.
Wow.
Which feels utterly crazy. You know,
Wow.
it's going too far.
It is too far. Yeah, and I, speaking about the enforced vaccinations, I saw a video of some people with mental illness being forcibly vaccinated, and I think it was in America the other day. I mean, that was so shocking, and that really brought up the whole thing about what happened with the Nazis. About first they came for the disabled, and then they came for the
Yeah, absolutely. And elderly people, of course, are also being coerced into having the vaccine.
Yeah.
And frightening reports that are not always broadcast on mainstream media, that a lot of them are dying within quite a short time of having these vaccinations.
Yeah.
Which deeply concerns me. And as a former nurse, the appropriateness of vaccinating someone, you know, close to the end of their life and putting them at more risk, I feel personally.
Well, one of the things that they're saying when there has been a death after vaccination is that, oh, well, they would have died anyway. But the point is, if somebody was that ill, they were about to die, one, why were they giving them a vaccination? Or if they weren't that ill before dying and they suddenly die, then they need a post-mortem, which isn't being done.
Which they're not doing. Yes, you're quite right. So they're very quick to attribute COVID to somebody's death and put it on their death certificate, but they're very reluctant and want to explain away any possibility of a death being caused by a vaccine.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So give us a little bit about your background, Louise, because when me and Juliet we're learning as we go on this, and people knowing a little bit more about who you are and what your background is just helps our little monkey mind to settle down. So
that's great. Yes,
a bit about you.
I don't know how long I've got. Yeah, so I'm the oldest of 8 children. I brought up as a Catholic, trained to be a nurse. Married. I had three children. My husband died when my children were only 12, 10, and 8. And I then took them to live in Findhorn and built an eco house there. And it was lovely to be part of that community for a few years. For my children, I felt we were held quite well. And it was a great time for us to go through our grieving process over my husband, my children's father. Yeah. So I've had a lot of bereavement, and my youngest brother sadly died through suicide 8 days after we moved to Findhorn. So it seems to be a theme of death running through our family. It sounds, bad, but
trauma. Let's call it trauma, Louise.
It is trauma, and I realise, and I've learned a lot, and I've worked with you, Juliet, in the past, and realised that I do actually have PTSD. And I found out my birth story just a few years ago, 6 years ago, that my parents conceived me out of wedlock. And my father was so embarrassed about my conception that he made my mother hide the pregnancy, and finally married her 13 days before my birth.
Wow.
But then forced her to hide me after that. So she had to. So I can recognize now, especially having watched Gabor Mate's brilliant documentary In Utero, I realized I must have been swimming in all my poor mum's stress hormones. She was desperately trying to hide her pregnancy from her father and 2 sisters. Her mum was no longer with us, and that, and to hide the pregnancy to that, and then also hide the pregnancy at her wedding as well in a Catholic church.
Yeah, that's
so you're sort of you've been conceived and been in this soup of you need to hide, you need to stay hidden, you need to remain out of sight, and that's kind of the energy that you've always had around you, isn't it? And this is where this life is so amazing how it unfolds, because it's going to keep throwing you into that sense until you start to recognize this is what you're here to actually heal.
Yeah, the recapitulation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Louise,
you're so right. I'm so aware that I've been blocked and gagged from actually expressing any of my views about any alternative narrative, if you like, about the coronavirus issue. My sisters, school friends, all my family have had a vaccination now, both my parents. I'm the only one who hasn't. And my children also, my son in Canada doesn't want me to share anything because it makes people feel uncomfortable. So I've been gagged. And the situation that I've come on to talk about, that Juliet was referring to, this sort of medical apartheid. My former partner has been jabbed. He's 10 years older than me. He's a bit anxious about his health. And I see him on the allotment. I've tried to remain friends. But he informed me a week ago, we sat and had a cup of tea together, and he informed me that I would not be welcome to visit him at his home any longer because I'm unvaxxed. So, and I was trying to share a packet of crisps with him, and he wouldn't even put his hand into the bag of crisps because of the fear of catching something.
The programming is so incredible, isn't it? The depths to which this program has invaded the human mind and the human consciousness is incredible.
Yeah, it's psychosis.
Pardon?
It's psychosis. It's deliberately induced psychosis as a result of behaviour. Yeah.
Exactly. And I said that's to a friend because I work for the Royal College of Psychiatrists, and one of my sons sadly is in a psychiatric hospital quite long term with so-called schizophrenia, which is very sad. I'm very aware of the collective psychosis that is going on, and actually the mass gaslighting that we're being subjected to from the government and powers that be. It feels 1 minute where it was 3 weeks to flatten the curve originally. The goalposts keep changing. And now that people are vaccinated, we thought, thinking that they could go on holiday, they risk a £5,000 fine and still have to wear masks and distance.
I did hear that had just been changed. So, Louise, we're going to have to just squeeze you.
We need you back again, Louise.
Yes, I could talk a lot.
Well, we all three can. This is the problem. And we were going to invite Brigitte on as well, that can talk a lot as well. So I don't think our hour is long enough. And I want to read something, share this whistleblowing report.
Yes.
So what was I going to say? It's gone out of my head now. I've been able to talk a lot, and now it's suddenly gone. Yeah,
but it's whistleblowing day on Saturday, isn't it? The UK column, I believe, have quite a lot of people lined up to.
Oh wow! Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going to put a link to UK column down beneath here.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to put you off screen, but you can still listen, Louise, to what we're going to share, and you can put something in the messages if there's something that comes to mind from what I say, and we'll show it on the screen. Okay.
Thank you. Well, lovely to talk to you briefly. We could all go on. I know.
Go on for hours. Go on for hours and hours. Yeah.
Where can people find more out about you, Louise? Do you have a website, a page, or what? How do you share your information online? How can people?
I've been on Telegram a lot, actually, but I'm on Facebook. I don't use Facebook I am on Facebook.
Okay.
But I do have. And I'm on Juliet. Yeah, put a link. Yeah, okay.
And you're on what? Sorry?
Well, I'm on several Telegram groups, and I communicate with you on Telegram, Juliet.
Yeah, I have a Telegram channel as well. Yes. So
yes.
Maybe I'll post them to that Telegram channel here as well.
Okay. Yeah. Lovely.
Okay. Lots of love, Louise, and speak to you soon.
And to you. Thank you.
Both of
you. And you too. It's really lovely. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Excellent. What a lovely lady. Wow.
She's a very lovely lady, and she might do my training.
Nice.
Yes. She's Louise. Yes, I know you can still hear me. So yes, really good quality, top people, thinking people. I want more and more of them so I can deprogram their minds. We need to deprogram our minds entirely.
Me too.
So I don't know if Brigitte is
Is she waiting? Have you got a...
I can't see her, but let me see. But I want to read this first from UK column, so I will just see if she's in Messenger. She's not answered.
So what was it Louise was talking about? She said there's a Whistleblowers Day.
Yes, exactly. So it kind of really leads in because that's with UK column, and it's probably started because, is this Brigitte here? Brigitte, hi. So Brigitte, I've just brought you on, but I'm not going to let you speak, okay?
You're not going to gag her, are you?
I don't know.
Don't gag Brigitte.
I've got to read this. I spent 2 hours typing it out today. It was really, and it made me late for my appointment, which made me late for this call and everything. It was a labor of love. I've got 8 pages I want to read out here. So when I've read this, you know, maybe we can go over the time, the 1 hour. I'm happy to, but you might not be able to. Okay, well, let's see how it goes. So when I read this, Brigitte, you can also comment. And so this is a critical information put out by UK column. For those that haven't heard about UK column news, I really, really highly recommend this is to understand what's actually going on in the country, because they do incredible analysis. Everything is really, really, really deeply researched and put forward. So this was the 14th of April UK column video news, and it's testimony from an NHS whistleblower. So it was very difficult to, I am an audio typist, but when I have to change screens and everything to get the latest bit of information and then type it down, it was very slow and laborious. And as much as I've tried to make it word for word from what she said, under the time pressure, there's a few little spaces in the sentences, and I might have the odd word incorrect. So I will give you the link. You can go to UK column. It's much better to listen to it live as well. So listen to every word. She has wanted to keep completely anonymous for reasons you'll understand in a moment, but she sent her identification photo to UK column news, her NHS identity card. She doesn't want to reveal to the health board that she works for who she is, because she's already been threatened with losing her job, and she has already been treated very abusively, ridiculed and laughed at and so on. She is a senior nurse who reports to a line manager who sits at the executive level on the national health system. And her card, her personal national health card, has already been marked because she has been trying with all her will to bring what's going on to the attention of people around her within the national health system. So she was directly, well, she still is, directly involved with the vaccine program for her particular health board. So anybody from the NHS will know, who's listening, about the health boards. I don't know about them. So she was involved with the vaccine program, is involved for her health board at senior nursing management level, and she's a policy writer, and she's responsible for prescribing the documents that allow the national health system healthcare staff to administer the jabs. Now she says, I'm reading now what she's written. She says, they are not vaccines, and as such, I cannot refer to them as. So, sorry, Louise, you have to not put in the private chat. Sorry, this is break. You have to put in on the other chat if you want your stuff to be seen, and we'll show it in a minute. So, so she says they're not vaccines, and as such, she can't refer to them as this. She says, I have been, in my post, directly responsible for all the vaccine policies and prescribing documents for years. Yes, so she's very high up in the NHS, and she's responsible for everything that's been put out for years to do with vaccine policies and prescribing documents. I work in tandem with the public health team, and I know a great deal about vaccines and their use. I worked previously as a research nurse, and I know how to critically appraise journal articles and trial protocols. I am contacting UK Column in response to a video that they put forward recently called No Smoke Without Fire. In this video, questioned what is going on with medics, whether they know the risks about the jab and were carrying on regardless, or were not aware as a result of how they are trained. So this was an interview with Debbie Evans on UK Column, where they're questioning her whether NHS staff know about the risks and carrying on regardless, or they're simply not aware of the risks. So this whistleblower is going to be talking about this. She says that everyone involved with rolling out the jab is simply listening to senior management, and there is very little questioning. She started to question before the MHRA, that's a medical body, MHRA. Do you know what that is, Marion? I've forgotten what it is. It's they're publishing the adverse events and so on. Whoever's listening will know. So she started to question before this medical body was given emergency use authorization. So I think they're to do with the authorization of the jabs, and they are also the organization that's reporting the adverse events and deaths and so on. So that's who you have to report back to if you're injured. I knew that I would be directly involved in the rollout of the jabs. I had been reading the trial data. I saw that there were flaws in the design of the Pfizer trial and all jabs, and all of them, and little or no safety data made available. She saw that even before the rollout. Claims of pharmaceutical companies as to the efficacy of the jabs was poetic license, and as far as I was concerned, was designed to mislead. So she's saying that the information put out by the vaccine companies were either deliberately or accidentally designed to mislead people on understanding what these jabs were about. Because my work is centered on vaccines for the last few years, I also questioned the speed with which these jabs came into use. I mean, they were very quick, weren't they? It was like in a matter of no time at all, suddenly they had these, what normally it would take years and years. And the fact that no one was questioning the outcomes of the numerous animal trials that had been undertaken over the previous 18 years for SARS and MERS. So this is linked into the whole COVID thing. It's the same thing that these vaccine trials, I'm saying this now, not her, all animals died in those trials. I initially refused to have any involvement to undertake my usual task in relationship to these jabs. She knew from the very beginning that she didn't want to put her name to it. My usual task in relationship to these jabs. However, I was quickly threatened with deployment to the planned vaccine center where I would be expected to administer the jabs. I definitely did not want to be in a position where I was expected to inject anyone. I mean, can you imagine such a thing? Saying that to her when she's trying to say, hang on a minute, there's grave problems with this safety data, and she's threatened that she's going to be put into one of the vaccine jab rollout centers. So I reined in my objections, but continued to refuse to have my name appear on any of the paperwork. At every turn, I have challenged and questioned the need for these jabs for any cohort except for the over 65s and clinically at risk people, and even then questioned the lack of efficacy and safety data. I questioned the policy not to supply the PIL, the patient information leaflet, to all the jab recipients. The PIL should always be supplied to all recipients. So if you're listening out there, do not have a jab without seeing the PIL. You have to ask for it. They're meant to be giving it to you, but you have to ask for it because you won't be told the truth if you don't.
Do you know what I also heard her say? I don't know if you're going to read this, but she also said that she spoke to a friend who was a GP, and she spoke to a consultant surgeon, I believe, an NHS consultant surgeon, who had both had the jab, and neither of them were aware of the ingredients in the jab that they actually had. And they're supposed to be giving advice to their patients about what's in there, and it's, you know, and what your rights are as a patient, and they don't even know what's in it, and they don't know the rights themselves because they're just doing as they're told.
Exactly, and I am
without question.
That is in here, and I will come to that. That's really, really important. The PIL should always be supplied to all recipients in a timely manner, so that they should be able to read through it in order to make a truly informed decision and to provide consent to receiving the jab. So here are us trying to wake up our loved ones, and they won't wake up because they're not even being given the right information. They're being completely manipulated.
Yeah.
Yet it became policy that no one was to offer this to the recipients unless they had requested it. So this is NHS government policy. Do not tell the people who are receiving the jabs the information about them.
So the policy is to break the law. The policy is to break the law, because it's legally bound to inform us, give us information to have, so we can make informed consent. The medical staff are legally bound to make us aware of what we need to know so we become informed. And they are being told to break the law. It's illegal. The guidelines are absolutely illegal.
Absolutely, absolutely. Criminal, evil beyond belief. So the layperson, so you who are listening, our loved ones, our children, our mothers, our fathers who are being murdered by this right now, have no concept of the PIL, of this document. They have no idea that it even exists and are unaware that this should be provided to them. They're completely innocent and naive that they're being duped by the government.
Yeah.
It's very bad. Conversely, it is written in protocols that healthcare professionals must use in order to authorize them to administer the jab. So every doctor, nurse, if you happen to listen to this, medical person, it's your legal duty to show your recipients, your clients, this information. And if not, you're liable.
Well, this was what what's his name, Vernon Coleman was talking about, wasn't it? When he said that there are going to be personal prosecutions along the lines of genocide against medical staff, because the medical staff who are following the current protocol are breaking the law, and they're breaking, as Teapot Pixies just said, contravening many international regulations. So they're breaking the law on so many levels by just doing what they're told to do by this government-led propaganda.
Yeah.
So they can be privately prosecuted. And I think, can we ask Brigitte to speak? Because she's there. And it's really serious, but...
3 more pages. I just want to get...
Juliet, can I just say, this information is available for people to go and see online.
Yes, it is, and I'm going to give a link, but I do just want to finish reading it, okay? Okay?
Okay. I'm not going to tell you what to do because you're not listening.
Yeah, right, okay. So the recipient must be informed that they are taking part in an ongoing clinical trial. This is a clinical trial. It's not even proven by any means at all that this is safe. Similarly, I challenge the fact that the checklist with the excipients should be gone through with every recipient on it, every excipient on it. Every recipient must be informed that they are taking part in an ongoing clinical trial. At every turn and whenever I can, I have constantly questioned my line manager. As a result of my nonconformity, I have been labelled a conspiracy theorist, nut, and an anti-vaxxer. I'm not an anti-vaxxer at all. I've had my hepatitis vaccine and my children have received all the vaccines. But I have been excluded from certain meetings and openly ridiculed and laughed at. Recently, I have been told to watch my step, since when cost cutting is required later this year, I may be surplus to requirements.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Debbie, who was interviewed a few weeks ago, is correct. Those delivering the programs are doing it naively in the belief dictated by senior management that they can trust the rhetoric. There is a total awareness of the risks involved at a senior level. So senior level management know what's going on within the NHS. And this isn't just in my board. When I faced up to my management, I asked why they were willing to do this. And all they said was, so I've paraphrased slightly there, we all have a job to do and a part to play. The government is leaning heavily on the health boards to comply and make sure that they do. Yeah, so this is all top-down, power over control. I'm also aware that things are not right and that things are futile and that management won't listen. So she's tried every way to blow the whistle on this. So there's the little bit, sorry, I've got my pages slightly mixed up. There's the little bit about what you said about the doctor. Neither the doctor nor the consultant knew what was in the vaccine. Neither did they know that they're meant to give out the PLI to people and to inform them.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes on to say, if consultants, GPs and nurses are not aware, how can the public know? I disagree with Debbie on one point. She stated she felt sorry for the NHS colleagues that are being told that if they don't speak up, they'll be on trial. My NHS colleagues have forsaken duty of care. They've broken their Hippocratic oath and code of conduct, have been brainwashed just the same as the UK public are through propaganda and predictive programming. When I trained as a nurse, it was ingrained in me to question everything, never to accept being told what to do. Yeah, we are advocates for patients and should look for evidence behind the treatment that we give. Therefore, I am complicit too. Although I know about the safety issues and have tried repeatedly to get through to management and colleagues, I have failed. I cannot recruit a single colleague. I've been to unions to support me, but predictably I was told I had no real case and it wouldn't be worth pursuing. As a lone voice, I will not be heard. I will lose my job, 23 years nursing career and nursing registration. Of that, I have no doubt. For now, I am resigned to stay in my post. I will continue to be defiant and challenge everyone at every opportunity to try and wake them up and see if they are willing to side with me. If a time ever came, if this genocide ever comes to light, notice she's naming that this is a genocide. If it ever comes to light, and it ended up on trial testifying, and if I ended up on trial testifying against those in positions of power that could have affected the outcomes, I will not hesitate to give evidence. I will accept my fate if I too should be found to be duplicitous in giving this horrid act of human annihilation. I do not fear that day, and indeed I pray for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope that there are many, many millions of people that know what's going on, that this is a lie, this is genocide, and that we really need to stand up. And I will turn over to Brigitte in a second. We've got 10 minutes for Brigitte. So sorry, Brigitte. Is she gone? So is Brigitte still here or what?
No, she's gone.
Oh, she's gone. Oh dear. Okay. So sorry, Brigitte. So, yeah, I'd recently also listened to a policeman whistleblower also saying similar things, that the police have no right to ask people their name and address or to arrest them or fine them for not complying with.
But they don't know. The police don't know it either. The police are being told that they've got every right to do this.
Yeah. So his whistleblowing was to speak to other policemen to say, look, you really need to find out what's going on, and we're also going to be ending up crimes against humanity unless we stop doing this. So, sorry, what was the message from Brigitte? I didn't see because I couldn't look at the same time as reading and having my willful way. I wanted to read it.
I've got no idea. What did it say?
Oh, you didn't see. Did she just go? Come back. Sending you my love. Have to water the gardens. How? Now very dry weather, winds, and you are both in good space right now. With the whistle blowing, such a deep topic. With love to you both. So, yes. I don't know what to say now. I'm like, I could go on talking, but you have a space, Marion.
Why was it so important to you that you shared that though, Juliet? Because this is obviously a really big deal for you. So what is it about this that is so important for you? Because
I've been really, really distressed, like trying to bring the truth to people, and this mind control that is happening, and people can't listen. That's like this complete incoherence. And I felt validated that at last there's somebody in a high level, actually within the NHS, because a lot of very high level people have spoken as well, that's experiencing the same thing. It's like even you can know everything about what's going on and even be involved in rolling out those programs like this person is, and still be told that you're a conspiracy theorist and not listened to. Yeah. But how does that help? How does it help that we, because the thing for me is, it's even more frustrating to know that somebody in that position can still be labelled a conspiracy theorist, told to piss off and paid no attention to, because that's what's happened. That's what happened, but hopefully it encourages more and more people. It's like there's going to come to a critical mass of people speaking out, and this is going to fall. It's already happened. On one level, it's already happened, and this war is already won. So, because again, it's about what practical solutions can we offer? How can this help? So if it helps you to feel, what was the word? Not vindicated. What was the word you validated? You said, didn't you? Yeah. So there's this sense of validation. So speak to us from the perspective of trauma. How is having this sense of validation supportive to people, to you, and to people who are in need of it? What does that do to help to support us? Because the whole point with this mind control, this trauma-based mind control, is to give you the feeling that you are insane. It makes you mentally ill. Yeah. And the more that you can see, it's like the whole focus is to isolate you, which then that also becomes a trauma symptom. It's also a torture symptom. And as you become more and more isolated, you shut down more, you freeze more. And it just totally destroys your relationships and your family connections. And you end up suiciding yourself. But the more that you can see that there are many, many people going through the same thing and that you are not insane, even if this brutalizing force, this abuser, the government is an abuser, or the Illuminati above them are the abusers that are attempting to drive you insane, is that there is a point when family systems begin to heal, and we have to look at the global family system that is beginning to heal, because we're throwing off, we're bringing to light the darkness that's been, not just with this pandemic thing, but that's been going on for hundreds of years, this abuse that's been controlling people and making us feel like we're much less than we are. Yeah. And for us to really truly heal, then the more and more we can hear that other people are going through the same experience, and that together we can bring our truth forward. This has to fall. This has to this. Just when you're in a family and you're being sexually abused, in fact, your brothers and sisters are as well, but nobody dares to speak up, because there's this, don't. The whole thing with abuse is like, don't tell anybody. This is just between you and me. It's like, oh, we're just having a nice time together. It's like, and with the human body, there's some kind of pleasure, even if you're being sexually abused. There's pleasure. It's like, so then the guilt thing comes in as well. And it's a huge thing to actually get out of that and to move forward, and then to begin to open your voice.
Yeah.
I work all the time with people that their voices, their throats are actually physically blocked.
My thyroid.
Your thyroid issues are a big part of it.
Well, we had very physical and psychological abuse at home. We didn't have sexual abuse. There was a lot of physical and psychological, and there's this level of what's the word? When you're in the tribe and you stick together, so you're doing this thing to each other by supporting each other. What's the word? Anyway, so this idea that if I were to speak up about the abuse, that people make excuses for the abusers, and that I'm then labelled as the baddie for having that voice, that I'm the one who's making a show of everybody, that I'm the one who's showing us up, I'm the one who's stopping, preventing family pride and all of this stuff. And it's a complete sham. That there's so much that needs exposing. There's so much that needs exposing, and yet my ability to expose it is completely battered by psychologically and emotionally by those around me who, as you just said, are undergoing the same abuse as me. But what do they call it? I call it stockholders syndrome, but it's Stockholm.
Yeah, and that's what's happening to all of us. And it's like how we need to encourage each one of us to speak up. And somebody's just put here now, T-Pop Pixie is a BHBIA guidelines and regulations. You have to comply with them always. So if you think about that as a family structure with the abusive parents, for instance, or parent, you have to comply, and that's exactly what we've got now with the government and what's above. You have to comply, and if you choose to speak out, you're told that you're insane or mad, or you're marginalised.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Because at the moment we've both discovered that there's a really great way for us to generate wealth and income for ourselves, and both of us are being scapegoated by our own families who perceive it to be a scam and a con. And I got called a con, and my brother this morning yesterday sent me a text saying, "Stop conning." And I said, how dare you accuse me of conning? I'm 56 years of age. When have I ever conned you? When have I ever conned anybody that you know or you've ever heard of me? You have never heard me con anybody. And yet you believe something you read on Google or a word that's been used, and you label me with this con, which really insulted my connection to my brother. It totally just... I felt so betrayed by him. And I know all he's trying to do is protect his family. All he wants to do is protect his family. But he'll do it really quickly at my expense because I use a word or I am indicating something that he doesn't understand. And so and I said to him, why would you not ask me? Can we have a conversation about this, please? Could you talk to me and help me understand what you're saying? No. Label me as a con woman. And that's what he did. So I was furious yesterday. I shouted at him and I told him, how dare you? And I wouldn't even let him speak. I wouldn't let him justify himself. I kept speaking over him. But then today I realized I was doing what he was doing. I was making it black and white. So I sent him a voice message today and said, I know you love your family and I know you're trying to protect your family, and that's really beautiful. But you will never protect your family by calling me a con woman when that's nowhere near the truth. So we need to talk about this. I've not heard from him yet.
Yeah, it's very distressing. We've got 1 minute and there's one.
Kieran's on. Hey, Kieran. I was just working with Kieran this afternoon. We were getting very distressed by the speed of the bloody internet. The trauma-based mind control scares the public into seeking a saviour, and they look to the government and its controllers and the perpetrators. It's hard to tell people their saviour is lying to them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mind fuck, isn't it? It's like, that's the biggest thing. It's like, Daddy wouldn't lie to me, Daddy wouldn't hurt me, Mummy wouldn't hurt me, but that's what the abuse is, and the government, Big Daddy, is hurting everybody.
Absolutely.
So are we going to end before the hour? Because before the hour, my West Country.
West Country girl.
No, West Country.
I'll go all Scouse on you now then, shall I?
So if we end before the hour, or should we go over?
We'll end in a minute. We were a minute late coming in, so we'll end it. We'll go. We've got one more minute. What do you want to say, Juliet, in your last minute?
Well, I don't want to say anything now. You just want to West Country, B.I. Somerset, B.I. Buggery. I comes up from Fareham, where all the yours wear calico drawers, and I knows how to tear 'em.
That sounds a bit weird now. That's just like, okay.
Oh, God.
You nutter. So yes, as you can tell, another very serious transmission from the elders about tearing your drawers. So yeah, UK column Saturday. What did you say? So it's whistleblowers. So hashtag whistleblowers Saturday with UK column. Definitely go and listen to that woman speaking so brilliantly about what she's been put through by the NHS, and how horrible that her livelihood, her children's lives, her family, her mortgage, her rent, her food, everything is at risk because she wants to tell the truth. She wants to not keep harming people, which is all that's being done. And that whole Hippocratic oath, do not harm. It's just, problem, reaction, solution. Absolutely. Teapot Pixie. Absolutely. They've made the problem and they're making the problem bigger every day. And we've just got to stop. We've got to show people how to not say yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. We just got to show people we can just say no. No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it. We really have to show people how to do that, don't we?
Yes. Be yourself. Be authentic. Don't be scared to be crazy. It's all right to be crazy.
Yes, it's my favorite thing. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week at 5 o'clock. And we'd love to read your messages. And I'm going to make sure that I see them this time. And if you don't reply to you, please come back and nag us until we do.
Yeah, we're getting better at this. It's a steep learning curve.
Except your video is on Friends Only again today on Facebook, Juliet. We need to sort that out.
Oh, really?
It's all right. I've been blasting everyone with the YouTube video link. So we've got 11 people watching us. So it's really lovely that you're all here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And
do share.
And tell us what you need. Tell us what you want us to talk about and help you to understand more, because we're here to support you, to give you tools that you need to get through this easier or better or whatever you need. Tell us what you need. We're not very good at mind reading.
No. Okay, lots of love.